NorthWest feels like a family. You know, people love one another and it's apparent.
There's a family atmosphere and dynamic here, unlike any that I've experienced at any other congregation I've been a member at.
I don't know how I would have gotten through college. I don't know how I would have gotten through life, really without my family here at NorthWest.
It's hard to believe, but just 25 years ago, most people didn't own a cell phone, and few people even knew what the internet was, let alone social media. Even though we are the most connected generation in all of human history, the reality is that we are quickly becoming a very impersonal generation of people, that we find ourselves hiding behind faceless and at times even nameless anonymity. But God has designed a place for us to connect. And in the Bible, we know that as the church.
I am from Belton, Texas originally, and I got recruited to throw UT Arlington. And one of the biggest things that my parents and I thought was really important was making sure that I had a church home. We saw that as growing up and seeing other friends of mine going off to college, that having a Christian family was one of the most important things to be able to help you and get you through college. And I came to NorthWest and immediately walked in. The singing was absolutely beautiful. People came afterward and just greeted me and my mom and my dad, made me feel at home immediately. And we told them that I needed a ride to church, and somebody came up and was like, "Oh, I'll give you a ride, and if I can't give you a ride, they will give you a ride." They would give me their numbers, just really making me feel at home. I am so thankful, and I know my parents are so thankful that I was able to find my church family here.
There's so many young families here that have a lot of kids, our kids' age. I love that our kids get to grow up with people their own age, that they can encourage one another. They have that support group in place.
Vacation Bible School gives us the opportunity to take the kids back to a time in history that they don't know very well, to a different people and a different culture.
It's a week that we single out and really bring God's Word to life. At VBS, we show the kids that the Bible's not just another story. It's God's Word about real people who lived, who loved, who struggled, much like we do today.
So many of our members pull together and the entire building is transformed into a different place. We had the kids walk on water.
And we've had epic battles with giants.
And we've lowered a sick man from the ceiling so that he could be healed by Jesus.
And we've seen the dead raised to life to walk out of the tomb. When we come to the end of the week, everybody has a passion for these stories from the Bible, and there's a hunger to know more about God's Word.
NorthWest's annual singing has really become a highlight on the congregation's calendar every year. The primary goal and objective of our annual singing is to bring praise and adoration to our great God. But a wonderful byproduct of that is that hundreds of Christians get to come together and to be encouraged and to be edified by that night in song. One of the more common questions that Churches of Christ receive is, so you really worship with no musicians, no professional singers to guide the congregation? Absolutely. An annual singing like this is a wonderful opportunity to show those outside the church just what purposeful, engaging, and enthusiastic congregational singing can look and sound like. Ultimately, when God's people come together, the key is to remember that the congregation is not the audience for the preacher, but rather that God is the audience, an audience of one, if you will, with the congregation as a whole coming together in unity and harmony to praise an awesome God in song. And we hope you'll join us.
And that's also 3 months after
We strive to make sure that both the preaching and the teaching at NorthWest is first and foremost Bible-centered. If it's not coming from the book, then it's just an opinion, and the world is full of those.
Each of the classes, all of our sermons, really challenge us to open our Bibles, to be there, to research it for ourselves, to dive into it ourselves.
It's not the same old stuff that you may have heard, for years. It's presenting the Word in a way that's easy to apply to your life so that you can glorify God more in your own life.
Church is much more than just a series of events that take place during the course of a week, more than just some religious ritual that Christians go through. Church is a family. It's God's family.
It's been really exciting to be a part of a congregation that isn't settling and is continuing to grow spiritually as well as numerically.
Just being around your fellow Christians is not only like a joy, but I feel like it's a command from God because He knows that's what we need.
For the child of God, the tomb is not the end. Death does not have the final say. A period is not the end of our story. But because Jesus was raised, the promise is that His people will be raised. And in a hopeless world, there is no greater hope than that.